Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl Kathleen, aka Kassadine, aka Sodine, and you are tuned in to another episode of Sodine's Soapbox. Yes. Here on Sodine's Soapbox is where we rant about love, life, and the pursuit of music. Get into it. Okay, so we are now on episode 6 of Sodine's Soapbox. So we are just going to jump right on into today's episode. I'm actually really excited about this episode. We're actually going to do a 3-part series with this next topic that I'm going to be talking about. So I'm really excited. First and foremost, as always, thank you for all of my supporters and listeners of my podcast. It just really means a lot to me that I have faithful listeners because, as I've mentioned before, this is a whole new venture for me, calling myself a content creator and having a podcast and things like that. This is all new territory, and the fact that I have people who are listening and listening consistently, I am just so thankful for you guys. I just really appreciate you guys. And so I just want to shout out all of my listeners and say thank you guys for the love and the support. So I want to just kind of talk about my week before we jump into the episode. This week has just been a long week. Your girl is exhausted. I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't know. I don't know if it's, I know time has changed, like daylight savings time, but here in Korea, they don't acknowledge daylight savings time. Like, there's no time changing where, clock goes back forward or backwards or none of that. It's just, you obviously notice that the sun stays up longer during the day. And I don't know if that's just contributing to me feeling exhausted and tired or what, but I want to say like the past 2 weeks, I've just been feeling exhausted. Child, between work and I'm trying to eat right and exercise regularly and therapy and everything else, adulting is hard and ghetto. I didn't sign up for this. Even last week, I told my mama, I said, just take me back to your womb. Just put me back into the womb because I didn't sign up for this. I didn't ask for this. Jesus paid it all. Why I gotta pay bills? Why I gotta pay this electric bill, this water bill, this gas bill, this phone bill? The Bible says Jesus paid it all. So why am I paying anything on this God-given green earth? Huh? Somebody please just explain that to me. But anyway, that's not today's episode. So I'm just, I just wanted to rant about that. And then, of course, there's the whole Will and Jada and Chris Rock triangle thing going on. I'm really not going to get on my soapbox about that. I did on my Twitter. So if you want to find out like my thoughts about that, definitely head over to my Twitter and find out my thoughts. The only thing I will say about it here, because in case you didn't know, I do pre-record my episodes. So today is actually April 2nd, but this episode will come out a little later. So I'm literally like, today we're in the heat of it all. But the only thing I will say on today's episode about the whole situation is some of y'all are talking about, oh, this is why they can't take us nowhere. We look bad in front of them, as in the Wahite people. Let me tell y'all something. First and foremost, stop worried about what them people think about us, because they have no problem getting on TikTok and the internet telling us how they feel about us. You got, people on Spotify using the N-word. You got people daily on TikTok talking about they don't wash their legs. They don't, they just let the soap from their hair or the top of their body just glaze the lower half of their body. You got people admitting online they don't wash their meat or they use a swimming pool as an alternative to a bath. You just got Wahite people like admitting all types of crazy stuff, and they never think about what they look like in front of us. So we need to stop worried about what we look like in front of them. Like, please stop worried about oh, now they gon' like, look, if they had a thought about us, they had it long before the Oscars. That's all I'm gonna say. The Oscars doesn't change any way that they feel about us. Because let's be honest, the Wahites and the things that they do, we've been side-eyeing them for a long time. And they have no problem, like I said, getting on the internet and expressing their points of view regularly. And not once do they think, oh, I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't say this because it's going to make me look bad in front of XYZ. So why should we? I'm all for decorum and being presentable in public. And I always believe that you should keep your hands to yourself. You know, I'm also from the south side of the kingdom. You know, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, but I'm from the south side of the kingdom. I'm right between Proverbs 31 woman and Tupac. But stop worried about what they think because they're not thinking about us. That's all I wanted to say about that. I'm not going to delve into it any further because that's not what today's episode is about. So, moving on. Before we jump into today's episode, we have, of course, our usual church announcements. If you haven't already, please follow me on all social media platforms. That will be Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I am Shameless Listo on all of those platforms. That is ShamelessLisZto. Again, I am Shameless Listo on all those platforms. Please follow me. I'd love to know who my listeners are. Come and chat with me. Talk to me. I share my music interests and I talk about whatever is current events. So I have my mini rants on my social media pages. So come and chat with me or talk to me about some of my episodes if you've listened to them. So head on over there. But now, church announcements are over. Let's jump into today's episode. So again, this episode is pre-recorded, but I kind of wanted to prepare for the month of May. I know we're just about to hit April, but the month of May is special for me because it is Haitian Heritage Month. Yes! Shout out to all my Zoes. So, in preparation for Haitian Heritage Month in May, I thought it would be a good idea if I talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly of being Haitian and what it's like for me growing up and the culture and things like that. Because I know I have some of my listeners who, some of you guys may be Caribbean, but some of you may not be. May have never encountered someone who's Haitian or may see a couple people on your social media feed who are Haitian. But I wanted to just take a couple episodes. So this will be like a 3-part series and just talk about the different aspects of what it's like as a Haitian, essentially. So we're going to title this series Living My Life Like I'm Haitian. You know, shout out to Jill Scott. So instead of living my life like it's golden, I'm living my life like I'm Haitian, essentially. I can't sing, but I'm gonna drop my little notes, okay? We're actually gonna do it backwards though, because I do want to end on the good things that I love about being Haitian, because even though I said it's going to be the good, the bad, and ugly, I love being Haitian. I don't think I would want to be anybody else in this world. If there is such a thing as reincarnation, I would want to come back at least as a Caribbean, Trinidadian, Bahamian, or from Barbados, one of those Caribbean countries. I cannot see myself coming back as just a plain Jane. And I'm sorry. But being Haitian, you just have that épice, that sazon, that seasoning when it comes to life, to music, to just perspective. Everything about life is just so much better. The jokes are funnier. The expressions are so much funnier. I can't imagine my life not being Haitian. And so that's why I said, is such a thing as reincarnation? I need to come back as at least a Caribbean woman of some sort. Let me come back, like I said, a Trinidadian woman, bet. A Barbados woman, bet. Like, make me the next Rihanna, okay? Minus the ASAP. Minus the ASAP. But let me come back as the next, like, Rihanna. I'm just saying, like, let me come back as a Caribbean woman, hands down. We got the best food. We got the best music. We have the best culture. I'm just saying. So I just want to preface this and say, I love being Haitian. But of course, with any culture, there is the bad side and there is, of course, the ugly side. So I just kind of want to delve into those different aspects for me personally. Now, for anyone who is Black American, you're going to notice there is a lot of overlap. But I'm just going to be speaking from the perspective of being a Haitian American because that's just how I grew up. Growing up, my parents made it very clear they weren't raising me as an American kid. They were raising me as a Haitian kid. So a lot of my experiences are just that. And if you guys recall my dating episode, the first one, I talked about I only knew l'église, la caille, and l'école, the 3 L's. So that just lets you know already, I didn't grow up as a typical American kid, let alone a Black American kid. I had a very different outlook on life. And so that's what we're going to get into today. So again, we're going to do this a little reverse. We're going to talk about the ugly first because I want to end in May talking about the good because that's going to be fun for me. I'm really, really looking forward to that. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I kind of have like this interesting perspective when I talk about me being Haitian because there was a point in time I actually didn't tell people I was Haitian and was even ashamed to tell people that I was Haitian because I did experience a lot of ugliness that came with it. And it wasn't until college that I came across another Haitian. Shout out to my boy Jonathan. If you ever hear this episode, thank you so much. He saw my last name and he was like, nah, you're not, you're not Black American. You gotta be Haitian. And I was like, nah, I'm not Haitian. He was like, no, there's no way. And he would persistently press me about it. And he's from New York. And the thing is, there are 2 types of Haitians. There are your New York Haitians and there are your Miami Haitians. And the funny thing is, when you talk to people in Haiti, they think they're only, those 2 types of Haiti, or Haitians, I should say. There are Haitians in like everywhere. There are Haitians in Boston and in Vermont and Texas and other places. But when you talk to a Haitian that lives in Haiti, in their mind, there's only New York Haitians and Miami Haitians. And there's like a running joke that New York Haitians or New Jersey Haitians are very bougie. They're like the Bridgertons, essentially. And then the Miami Haitians are like the Kodak Black. To put it into real perspective, you have the Bridgertons versus like the hood Kodak Black versions. Now, my boy being from New York, not necessarily that he was like Bridgerton, but New York Haitians, they are loud, okay? They are loud. Haitians in general are loud and proud, but I don't know what it is about New York Haitians. They be on a different level. And that's how he was. He was very loud and proud and wore, the rouge et bleu, the red and blue, very proudly on his chest. And me, I had experienced a lot of traumatic issues that happened with like Haitian culture that I really just didn't want to claim being Haitian. So when I came across him and he was adamant that he's like, oh, you're Haitian. And I was like, yes, I'm Haitian, but I don't want to talk about it. Oh, once he learned I was Haitian, he stayed on me. Like, he would invite me to like the Haitian events. If he found a Haitian restaurant, he would invite me to the Haitian restaurant. He would play Haitian music around me because I wasn't into none of that. I wasn't into like Haitian music. I wasn't eating at the Haitian restaurants. Like, you catch me now, it's a different story. But back then, I wasn't into any of that. I ran away from my Haitian culture as much as possible because I just experienced a lot of hurt. And that just came from, as I talked about, I am a pastor's kid. My father originally had a Haitian church that he obviously pastored. But the problem is there was a lot of like inner church drama, you can say, that happened because essentially there was a church and they needed a pastor to, take over. And there was a man who he wasn't really a pastor, but he kind of like ran things. And so, of course, my dad came down and he did a couple of like Sundays with them, and they really liked my dad. So they hired my dad to be like the official pastor. Like, they went through the whole service and things like that. And I actually don't remember how long we were at that church, if I'm being honest. I don't remember. But like my parents were really involved. Like my dad would do Sunday school. As I told you, I was practically in church like every day all week. And so we were doing a lot of things. Like my dad even was teaching classes to help some of the Haitians with reading and writing because the older people just didn't have a strong concept or grasp of English. So he was helping them because during the day he taught ESL. He was already a teacher, so it was nothing for him to teach them ESL. So he was teaching them English, helping them read and write. My mom was also helping the women and doing like women's ministry. They were just very much involved in the church. And I remember specifically this was like the time where everything kind of shifted. We helped the church buy a new building in a new location because the original church was in like the basement or like in a room in another church. So it was like owned by like, Moon Blanc, aka white people or Wahites. My dad wanted us to find our own church. So we moved out of there. It was their auditorium, excuse me. So we would have services in their auditorium on Sundays, and my dad wanted us to have our own church. So they were able to like raise the money and buy an actual church building. So we were in the church building. I don't even know if it was a full year or not. And then there was just a lot of inner church drama and turmoil that started to happen. Long story short, the guy who I guess in his mind found the church felt some type of way about the progress that was happening under my father's leadership and essentially my parents' leadership. Let me say my parents' leadership. He felt some type of way about my parents' leadership. Mind you, these are all Haitian people. Instead of seeing it as like we're all coming up together, because that's essentially like what my parents came into it as. My parents wanted to see us as a Haitian community move forward as a collective. Now, I'm not necessarily saying my parents were 100% faultless because obviously as their daughter, as a child, I've seen how my parents have raised me, and there's a lot of faults that unfortunately I've noticed that I realized like, okay, my parents are like this, and it could have easily spilled into the church in their mannerisms and their personality and how they behave towards others. So I have no doubt that there was probably some miscommunication and issues, but I just remember that there was a quote unquote church meeting that happened. And that guy was basically like, oh, well, thank you for all your service. You've done everything that we wanted you to do. Now we want you to leave. It was like the way it all went down. Like instead of just talking to my dad about his grievances or issues, he basically started a coup, is what I can say. It was basically like a coup. He started talking to certain members behind my dad's back, saying my dad was stealing money from the church, saying that my dad was doing like this, that, and the third, like essentially lying on my parents, saying that they were doing things that they weren't doing at all. And therefore it caused dissension in the church. So there was a meeting that happened, and there was this whole big issue that it was basically members arguing back and forth, members that were in support of my parents because they felt like as a community, as a church, we grew. And then there were people who were, against them. It was like, no, these people are coming in here and they're stealing our money and they think they own us and they think they're better than us and this, that, and the third. And the church just became divided. And I just remember being really young. Like I was either middle school or high school. I might have been maybe in high school. And I wasn't allowed to be in the meeting. But I just remember a mob of Haitians just coming out behind my parents. And they were yelling and they were screaming, calling my parents essentially like the devil. And as a, young kid, that's very traumatic to see. And my parents really held their heads high despite, all of that. And it wasn't like, I wish I could say like it was just that and then it was over. But it followed them for a while because there were still some members, as I said, who still wanted to congregate with my father. And that same man was like spiteful. Like he would make calls to certain people and threaten them and would accuse my parents of like just wild things. And unfortunately, the Haitian people didn't even try to like look at the receipts of my parents to be like, okay, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. Like the math isn't mathing. That's probably like what I would say is like the ugly thing about Haitians is that like there's like a pride that they can't let go of. And again, as I said, there may be some overlap between Haitian community and other cultures, and especially the Black culture. But that is something that I just remember seeing firsthand, was that they couldn't let go of their pride, and seeing that they felt like my dad was taking too much credit for the growth of the church, and it was impeding on their ego and their pride, that the only solution they could think of is to tear it down and take it away. And we can see the same thing happening with, like, if you look at Haiti right now with the political turmoil and everything, it's kind of like, it's ironic because the Haitian flag says Union fait la force, which means unity creates strength, or unity makes strength. Yet there's so much division that creates chaos, because it's like, we don't like how things are happening under him, that we have to sabotage. It's like, instead of seeing that everything is for our benefit, for self-benefit, we all have to somehow sabotage it because things are going too well. We don't like when things are going good, that we have to destroy it and sabotage it. I'm not gonna lie, that whole church incident is a very big part of why for a long time I didn't identify myself as Haitian. Because every time someone would ask me if I was Haitian, I would just think back to the ugliness of that situation, and I would think, I'm not like them. I'm not one of them. I would never treat somebody like that. I would never act like that towards someone. And so therefore I didn't want to be associated with that kind of behavior, that kind of mentality. And so I would tell people, nah, I'm not Haitian. I'm good. Literally, like, I would deny that part of me because I just hated the ugliness of it. So again, just kind of leading into it, that's one of the things that I would say was like very, very ugly part of living as a Haitian, is just experiencing the ugly side of. What's funny is the same man who was like lying on my parents would look me and my sister in the face and would smile and ask me how my parents were doing, because they thought we were like idiots and we were dumb and couldn't put 2 and 2 together and didn't know what's going on, because they have this mentality of like, oh, we're timun or children, we can't be in adults' business. But it's like bruh, I'm not oblivious to what's happening. I can see the expression on my mother's face. I can see my father's body language. we're not idiots. So it was literally like a slap in my face to see this man come to me or like run into me on random times at the Walmart or Target or round and about and talk to me like you didn't just disrespect my entire family. So I always thought that was just like, really, that was probably like the very first thing that I would say is like the ugly part to me. It's just how that whole situation transpired, because you would think that especially in a church setting, that we would all be unified in one mission, and yet that was the time that we were the most divided. And it's just sad, unfortunately. Now, the second ugly thing, which I feel like unfortunately is like common in a lot of Caribbean families, is why y'all be having multiple families? Like, what is going on? Like, that is, I'm sorry, that could technically fall under the bad, but I'm gonna put it under ugly because it is so ugly. You could be talking to a Haitian man, you could be married to a Haitian man, and he talking about he's sending money back home to his mother. He's sending money back home to his baby mother, sis. That's what he's doing. He's sending money back home to his wife and 3 kids that he sees every time he vacations to Haiti. Like, bruh, it is such a norm for Haitians to have multiple families. Multiple families. I'm going to put myself on blast because I just don't care. I have an uncle right now. He has a child outside of wedlock that is the same age as his grandchild, and his grandchild is like pretty young. Like, sir, what? Sir, like, pack it up. Y'all are too old for these games. And like, they really make it sound like it's a norm. And what makes me more angry about it is they be looking at me and they're like, oh, how come you're not married and this, that, and the third? Like, you're beautiful, you're smart. Like, why aren't you married? And it's like, I'm not trying to end up like y'all. I'm not trying to end up as somebody's like 2nd, 3rd, 8th wife. And that's the thing. Like, I actually had a family member, like I had an uncle tell me, because of my big age, that I was only going to be somebody's side bouzin, which is essentially like side hoe. Like, he told me straight up to my face, at your age, you're still single? The only man that's going to want you is to be like their side piece. Like, straight up told me to my face. Didn't sugarcoat it. Didn't try and like coddle me or nothing. And I was just like, you have some audacity. Because y'all out here with 2, 3 families and you married. So because I choose to wait to find like a good one, I can only like, all right. Like, it's just, the math just don't math for me. It never adds up. It never makes sense. And so it's just like, it's such a norm but God forbid you be a Haitian woman. And again, the correlation is also in other cultures. You be a Haitian woman and you happen to have multiple families. Oh, you ain't got no home. You weren't raised well. You weren't this. You weren't that. Oh, God forbid. Because that's again, another ugly part is Haitian families adore the sons. They adore the sons. Oh, my son this, my son that. And the daughters get treated like trash. Okay? You could go to a Haitian house and especially the oldest daughter, I'm the oldest daughter, so this is from my perspective. Oldest daughter is basically like the second mom. Oldest daughter, she gotta cook, she gotta clean, she gotta do laundry, she gotta do everybody's homework, she gotta go do the grocery shopping, she's gotta do everything. What does the son do? He gets treated like a king. He ain't gotta lift a finger. Do nothing. I remember seeing, I think it was like, there was like a Haitian influencer. I don't remember who it was. They were talking about they were dating a Haitian guy. And she went to meet the mom, and the mom was like, oh, my son doesn't eat leftovers. You have to cook him a meal every day. He doesn't eat leftovers. If you don't cook, you can't be dating my son. What? Y'all really be out here babying your sons. If that's the case, keep your son at home. Please don't send him out to the world to be dating, because don't nobody got time to be cooking your son fresh meals every day and using up 6, 7, 8 sojes or pots and pans to cook him a meal, and he can't cook for himself. If he wants a fresh meal every day, he better be in that kitchen greasing up them elbows, because ain't no way we both working and I gotta cook every single day a fresh meal because he's too good for leftovers. Bruh, bump that way. Like I can't. I can't. But and then don't get me started about the careers. They'll be like, oh, my son is a doctor. My son is a lawyer, avocat. My son is this. He makes so much money. You could have a daughter who is the same. She's a lawyer. She's a doctor. She's an engineer. She don't get the same hype as the son. They'll be like, my daughter, I don't... which basically means like I don't know what she's doing with her life. Li pa maye, li pa ka quit, li pa ka lave kai. Like downing her because if she can't cook, if she can't clean, she essentially has no value for her life. But her son all of a sudden is a doctor, and apparently like he's the greatest thing in the world. But your son could still be a doctor and still be a bum. Your son could still be a lawyer and still be a bum. Like, there's just so much favoritism when it comes to them having a son versus them having a daughter. They'll be like, oh, all she does is TikTok and this, that, and the third. Your son is on TikTok just the same. What's the difference? I can't. It's the hypocrisy for me. So it's just, anytime if they got boys, they're gonna my son you to death. Oh, my son. Don't nobody care about your son. He's dusty and crusty like the rest of them. Please. And I think some other ugly things, it's just like some sporadic stuff, like nothing too deep. But like, Haitians really will play you because you don't speak Creole to the same level as them. So for those of you who don't know, the Haitian language is Creole. And it's Haitian Creole because there's Louisiana Creole and there's all sorts of other Creole out there. Even though Haitians did have everything to do with getting Louisiana and the Louisiana Purchase. If you didn't know that, check your history books. The ones that they don't edit out. But Haitian Creole is very specific. But you got a lot of Haitians out here. They will shame you for not speaking Creole. Bruh, don't come for me because you don't know my life. For example, me specifically, I don't speak Creole that well. I speak it enough. And it's because my mom, obviously was fresh in the country when she had me. So she spoke Creole a lot when I was born. But then I started going to like daycare and things like that. And this was before, like language is now like an essential, like a secondary language is now essential in school. So I was speaking Kringlish at school, which is Creole and English together. And they called my mom and threatened her, saying that, oh, we can't help her. If she has an issue, she has a problem, we're not going to be able to assist her in any way. You need to be speaking English to her at home. You can't be speaking to her in any other language. Now, even my mom says retrospectively, that's BS. Because how many Hispanic kids only hear Spanish at the house, and yet they can flex between Spanish and English, no problem. They don't skip a beat. But for my mom, she was scared. So she started speaking to me in English more. But the reality is, I would have had no problems learning English because I lived in America. I watch TV in English, my books are in English, I hear English all the time. I would have been fine. It's just the daycare workers didn't have the patience or the empathy to deal with me. So they were just like, you need to speak to her in English, and that's that. And so that's essentially what happened. My parents started just speaking English to me more often. So I therefore didn't learn Creole as much. The only time I really spoke Creole was when my grandmother would come to visit. And she would come and visit like every 6 months, like every other 6 months. So 6 months she would come and then she'd leave. Other than that, I didn't grow up around family. So I didn't have anyone else to speak Creole to. And as I got older, I just essentially lost it, basically. And once my grandmother passed away, I really haven't had anyone to consistently use Creole with. And so it's like really bothers me when people will shame, oh, how are y'all Haitian and y'all don't speak Creole? Like, I speak Creole. And it's just like, okay, kudos to you. You want a cookie? You want a gold star? Like, you don't know people's situations. Like, I remember going to Florida, and I told y'all Miami Haitians are completely different. They have a whole community, same as New York, but it's way different. And I went to visit my cousin, and she only hangs out with Haitians. So all they do is speak Creole. All they do. So I'm trying to basically immerse myself in it, speaking Creole with them. Child, they was laughing at me and busting on me the entire time. They was roasting me. Oh, you sound so cute when you speak Creole. Why your Creole sound funny? Why? And I'm just like, bruh, because I don't speak Creole regularly. Like, I don't speak Creole day to day. Yeah, they just busted on me because my Creole was not up to par. But it's just like, bruh, I don't live around Haitians enough for me to use it on a day-to-day basis. So I really hated that because it's like, legitimately people will look down on you. Oh, your Creole isn't. Now, if like there are people who just refuse to learn the language altogether. Like I know Haitians, like I'd be like, oh, do you speak Creole? And they're like, no. And it's like, why? It's like, oh, I just don't want to learn it. That to me bothers me because you're choosing to like neglect part of your ancestry and your culture and who you are. But it's another thing where it's been difficult for you to learn it. And, you've had like a situation like mine. There are a lot of people who've had situations like mine where their parents had to stop speaking Creole for whatever reason, or the school system intervened their learning and therefore they stopped learning, which is what happened with my sister. I can speak it enough to hold a conversation and at least understand it a little bit better. She, on the other hand, by the time she came around, my parents were speaking English pretty well. And therefore, she doesn't speak Creole as much. Like, we're getting better now because Haitians are taking over, and I love that. And even Duolingo now put, Creole on there, so you can learn Creole on Duolingo. But back then, nah, it wasn't even a thing. So I think for me, that was like hella ugly. Like, why y'all treat me like this? I'm one of y'all. Why y'all treat me like this? And then I think the last point I kind of want to wrap it on. It's a little serious. It bothers me a lot. Is the whole how, President Biden decided to, I get it. Ukraine is going through a lot, but the way they treat black people, I'm gonna hold my opinion about it. I don't like that they're at war, but I don't appreciate the racism. Y'all going through a war and y'all still choose to be racist? Y'all still choose to treat black people the way that y'all do? Okay. But Biden just out here just openly embracing Ukrainians in America, but not too long ago, you turned away all the Haitians that were seeking asylum. All of them, my guy, all of them. And please don't come talking about stuff, oh, they were crossing the border and they were illegal and blah, blah. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear none of it. The simple fact is, those Haitians were coming to America to seek asylum for what they've been dealing with in Haiti and the political turmoil and the kidnapping and the killings and everything else. The same grace we should have been extending them, we didn't, because they don't look like the immigrants y'all want. But the Ukrainians look like the immigrants y'all want. So, sounds kind of suspicious to me. Don't you find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? Okay. So yeah, that's kind of ugly to me. It's just that the continual imagery of how Haitians are. Like, even Netflix had a whole lie about, I think it was either HIV or AIDS started in Haiti because of a Haitian and a monkey. And I'm like, put some respect on Haiti, okay? In the words of Will Smith, keep Haiti out of your effing mouth. I'm sorry. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to refer to the whole Will Smith. I said I wasn't going to do it. But it's just the ugly disrespect for me. That, or the news lady that said that Haitians, were in such bad poverty. We were eating trees. Trees, ma'am? Really? Trees? Okay. So it's just those type of ugly narratives that we see about Haitians that I can't. And I'm going to talk about that more in like the bad, because the ugly I kind of wanted to talk about within Haitian culture. The bad I kind of want to talk about outside people and what they've said about Haitian people. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but that kind of goes into the bad that I really can't stand. So I'm actually going to cut it off here. But yes, next episode, we're going to talk about the bad part of living my life like I'm Haitian. So I want to thank everybody for listening to today's episode. I appreciate it as always. Please, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you rate and leave a review. It means a lot to me as a small content creator. For those of you who listen, especially if you're listening regularly, like if you've listened to whether all of the episodes or 2 of the episodes or whatever, it would mean a lot for me for you to not only rate the episode, but leave a review wherever you listen to it, on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, or Google. I would really appreciate it. And again, please follow me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I almost said MySpace. Child. My handle is Shameless Listo on all platforms. That's ShamelessLisZto. Chat with me on the socials. I'd love to chop it up with you about today's episode or any past episodes. But until next time, your girl is off her soapbox. See ya.